Hello, Nathan from All Properties Group on the Gold Coast, coming to you with this quarter's market update. Last quarter, we spoke about the first half of the year. I'm going to continue that this quarter with the next report being in January next year, which will wrap up the whole of 2021 and give us a really good picture. In this video, so I'm going to talk about Pimpama and Jacobs Well, break them up into a few different regions, and also talk about what's driving the market and what we're finding, which is quite interesting for those sellers that might be considering selling in the near future. I've got to say, the data that I'm going to talk about is things that I've drawn out as of the 2nd of October. It is subject to change as more sales start flowing through the systems, but right now, all I can go off with what's already been uploaded. Early next year, there'll be a more accurate update that'll cover off the whole year. As I said, that should be as accurate as I could possibly make it after the holiday break at Christmas. So before I start heading into October 31st is the APG Halloween event in Pimpama. If you haven't already seen it, head to the event page. We should have some updates very soon from the council. But to kick things off, there's been 3 notable sales of mine, which is really going to outline the total picture of this market. 67 Melville Drive, 37 Marina Parade, and 109 to 113 Ballantrae Road. 3 different suburbs, 3 sold by me, all 3 to interstate buyers. Now, all 3 of these, so 2 of them are actually moving, 1 of them is an investor, but the interesting part of this is that all 3 of them are different types of properties. So there's an acreage property sold to someone moving up here, a waterfront $2 million home sold to an investor, and a golf course estate, not on the golf course, but an estate in Pimpama sold to someone making the move up. So why do I mention these? Why are these notable? So everyone's been talking about it. Interstate interest is high. In fact, I think we've probably almost hit the peak. When the borders open, will be at its peak, and that should be happening, fingers crossed, by the end of this month, early November, looking at the data we've got from the vaccination rates. So right now we're seeing probably somewhere around 70% of the inquiries coming on pretty much every property. There's some anomalies, but pretty much every property, 70% of the inquiries are from interstate, which is a mixture of investors and owner-occupied. Still, in my opinion, and what I'm seeing anyway, the majority of buyers are owner-occupiers. They're also the ones paying the best money in most cases. So 1 in 3 houses then are selling to an interstate buyer. So when we're looking at talking about the market, and this is going to go a bit off a tangent, but when you're looking at selling your home, this really does, in this market, outline the importance of technology and correctly marketing your home to the right buyers. Every person out there can sell a house right now, but what we do is find the best buyer who's going to pay the best price. And if your agent isn't doing that for you, give me a call. Now let's jump in. Pimpama. Pimpama has sat stagnant, which I said in the last video, for many, many years because of the ridiculous amounts of land that has been released. We've now reached pretty close to the peak of development that's going to be happening in Pimpama. Pimpama Village is almost sold out its final release. Gainsborough Greens has completely sold out. Pretty much every other estate is now sold, and there might be some small little pockets coming. But as land prices have increased and so has the cost of building, everything else has gone with it. So when we're looking at the total of the 12-month median house price, the current year in Pimpama is $513,800. That's all houses. Last year it was $457,000, so there's a 12% increase year on year. The calendar year, I think the end of this year, we're going to see a significant difference in that number. And basically what's happening in the area is that the sales activity, which has been driven by Gainsborough Greens in my opinion, but the sales activity has increased. So right now, this calendar year, we've sold 359 houses as of the 2nd of October. Last year, for the entire 12 months, there was 368 sales. So there's been an increase in activity, and the days on market has pretty much halved. I mean, my average days on market in Pimpama is 2 days. Majority of what we're seeing is lasting 7 days at the max. Some of them are going a little bit longer if they're tenanted. Really, really good sign for the area. And I mentioned Gainsborough Greens because that's where I live. It's my favorite estate, pretty much on the Gold Coast, to be honest with you. And we've seen finally some really good changes in here. Now there's no lands. Investors are now selling out, so it's all pretty well 80 to 85% owner occupied. And we've seen the median house price grow $100,000, currently sitting at $630,000, 18.87%. It works out to be up from $530,000 last year. And the activity, we've sold 65 houses this year with 3 months left. In total, there were 60 sales last year just in houses, taking out units and lands. Really, really good sign. The last release sold out in less than 1 minute of land, and that's the final release ever to be had. This is great value for money still, this estate. As people start to come up, we know interstate buyers are getting a ridiculous amount of interest in this area. Investors are no longer coming to Gainsborough Greens. It's reached its point at this age anyway, the 5 years plus majority of the homes, where they're now looking at newer estates or they've already bought up the newest release. So really good value for money if you are looking to buy, definitely a good place to start. And if you are looking to sell, interest in this area above all of the rest of Pimpama is tenfold. It's got the highest level of interest of any houses on the market in this suburb. The last one I want to talk about, and this has been a really big mover throughout the Northern Gold Coast in general, but acreage market has been absolutely ridiculous. Again, I think it genuinely is driven by interstate interest, plus Brisbane and Southern Gold Coast buyers wanting to escape the city now that they can work from home, 3 or 4 days a week, then having to drive less, and they can have less worry about an hour's trip to the city 5 days a week, now that they might have to do it 1 or 2 a week, if at all. So Pimpama's had a very similar increase at 23.91%. Houses in Pimpama on over an acre have gone up in value this year. 855,000 is the median, 690,000 last year. Amazing result. If you do own acreage in Pimpama, it really is a great time to take advantage of the market. And if you are looking, I still think there's growth to come. There's a very big range of properties, a lot of older acreage homes ready for demolishing, ready for some really nice luxury properties. There's also some amazing big houses set to come to the market, no doubt very soon. Again, an increase in sales activity in acreage, 21 sales so far this year with 3 months left in acreage, a total of 13 the whole of last year in 2020. So that's a really big sign that things are starting to move along, but that it's not a massive volume. So when you do list your home for acreage in Pimpama, there's not much to choose from. Maybe a couple of months will come up, and the buyers are ferocious right now. They're paying huge money. So keep that in mind moving forward. Now, Jacobs Well has been a shining light. Many people still haven't looked into this area, but there's a lot of older homes in Jacobs Well that, again, are big blocks, 700, 800 square meters, small homes that could easily be renovated, extended, or demolished and rebuilt. But they've got the Calypso Bay market, which has boomed dramatically over the last 12 months. Land prices in Calypso Bay have doubled, in fact, in the last 12 months, a really good sign of the times. But looking at Jacobs Well as a whole, 19.31% increase in the median price to 695,000. Last year, the median was 582.5. Sales activity is pretty much on par. So there actually hasn't been an increase in properties coming to the market in Jacobs Well at all. 70 were sold last year, only 53 sold so far this year with a quarter to go. I'd say we're gonna end up very similar, if not less sales this year than last year. The buyers' activity for that reason is through the roof with inquiries. I mean, most properties are now selling in only a couple of days. My average days on market in Jacobs Well is 1. So Calypso Bay is the one that I've spoken about a lot. This estate is so far untapped and the greatest value for money on the Gold Coast for waterfront. And Sydney and Melbourne buyers have finally found it. When we're getting inquiries, people are looking and they're thinking what they can buy in Calypso Bay for $2 million is going to cost them $5 to $7 in Sydney. Or if they want to go to Hype Island, probably $3 to $4 million for the same property, in my opinion, in a better location. So the current median in there is 1.24 million, a 12.73 increase from 1.1 last year. Activity is pretty much the exact same, a slight increase so far in Calypso Bay. So 22 year on year so far this calendar year, 22 in total last year with 3 months to go. There is a little bit on the market. Pretty much everything is under contract though, so we should see that number dramatically increase. But it's a very slow moving market. I mean, with 22 sales to 30 sales a year is a very slow moving market with a ridiculous level of buyer interest. Again, if you've considered selling, there really is no better time. And if you've considered buying, I can see great value in this estate still moving forward. So they're my main core areas that I wanted to cover off. And there's a pretty good theme between a lot of them. One, interstate interest is still running rampant, but there's also a lot of local interest still coming. Brisbane and Southern Gold Coasters are finding the areas, Pimpama, Jacobs Well, Ormo, Kingsholm, all these areas around Willowvale included, are a really good pocket where they can be far enough away from the city, but if they ever need to go, it's 40 minutes each way, no matter which way they go. If they're feeling a beach day, 40 minutes. If they need to go to the office, 40 minutes. It's a really good spot to be with little land to come, in my opinion. There's a lot of infrastructure coming. If you're in my email list, the end of this week or early next week, you'll see it. Pimpama train station, so the intersection early works will be starting at the end of this year. That's just getting everything ready for traffic and for construction traffic going in. Next to that, Pimpama City Stage 3 is set to start pretty soon. They've just signed some pretty good tenants. News to come on that, no doubt, soon. Pimpama intersection, middle of next year, that will start. That will make a huge difference to traffic in the area. Getting rid of those roundabouts and putting in a very good looking, looks on paper, very good looking intersection for the area. So much more to come. Coomera Connector, fingers crossed that's set to kick off. I believe middle of next year. That will be a great traffic reduction for the whole of Gold Coast, right through to Brisbane. If you have any questions about the market, or if you want to know what this might mean for you, if you're living in Gainsborough Greens, Jacobs Well, even Ormo, I've got a really good knowledge base of the whole of the Northern Gold Coast, give me a call. I have no doubt I can answer your questions. I'd love to help you sell. 0407 760 435's my number. Speak to you soon.